on TikTok, not only. Yeah, what you do on TikTok, you have 6.2 or 3 million followers. So what you do and how you made this to build up such a huge followership?
So what I do is sexy food content. I really play on sort of those themes, and my passion, I guess, is really in that food space. So my aspirations is to become, hopefully one day, a very successful restaurateur here in Zurich. And so my journey began when I started studying at École Hôtelière de Lausanne. I started downloading TikTok and some other social media platforms, and I started sort of testing recipes with the idea of eventually hiring a chef to execute those ideas better than I could. And so as the years passed, I started to get better and better at cooking. I sort of started to get my own sort of style as well in there. And so now I'm at a stage where, yes, we successfully somehow managed to build a community of 6.3 million followers, which is absolutely incredible. And I feel really blessed. And so, yeah, I'm very excited now to sort of see the next step, which is opening up a business.
Do you have a specific pattern in your videos?
Yes. I mean, that also sort of developed over time. It really sort of began with the idea of cooking for someone special. That was really the essence of all of the content I do. It's really focused on creating really stunning and beautiful dishes that are also tasty, hopefully, and that sort of inspire you to, I guess, to create for someone special. And so over time, the theme sort of got more and more developed, and we started adding some sexy elements. It could be, for example, me fingering a fruit. It could be me being shirtless, topless, washing the sink, and sort of to play into those themes. But ultimately, it's always about the food and also just having a bit of fun in the process.
And how would you describe you as a brand?
I think as a brand, I would describe myself as fun, sexy, but also really serious in terms of the quality and production produced. So it really focuses on the end product. I think in combination, it's sort of the mix between playfulness, but also seriousness. Yeah.
And how would you describe your business model on TikTok?
My business model, what do you mean my business model? Like how?
You make your earnings, but you just talked, as I understood, you want then to open a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just that's the start of that, the first, how do you say, your first step?
Yeah, so TikTok is really sort of the experimental phase to test out new things. It's almost, I would argue, kind of my platform, I'm not sure if that's the correct word, like a doodle, like kind of sort of just putting out ideas. And then, of course, the following that we have acquired is just a really sort of, I guess, a blessing that just sort of happened as well. But the focus is really about just trying different things out, and then also, as of now, also selling recipes. So we have a website where we sell our recipes that we create. So people who want to recreate those recipes can. Yeah.
Do you have an idol?
An idol? That's a good question. Do I have an idol? I can't think of it.
So from the cooking side, the Andreas Caminada, or?
Oh, okay, yeah. Cooking idol-wise, I think a big influence for me was when I was doing service. So when I was a waiter, I worked for some really amazing places in Australia. Most of them were hatted places, which is sort of equivalent to Michelin star restaurants. And there I worked for a famous chef called Neil Perry. And I think before working for his restaurant, I used to overcomplicate all of my food. So it had like, I don't know, 100 elements in it. And he sort of really influenced this sort of simplicity. So focusing on really simple produce. I like high quality produce, and then executing them in a really nice and simple way. And I think he's a big influence in my cooking journey. And then the other person I think is Heston Blumenthal. He was sort of the first innovator in sort of the gastronomical sphere. And I always loved to watch his shows. I think about 10 years ago when he got into the food scene, which was really a sort of experimental food. Yeah.
Are you open for brand collaborations?
We're always open for brand collaborations. However, they always need to tie in with the values that I have, which is, and also sort of vision that I'm going for, which is, it has to be quality. It has to sort of be in the sphere of excellence. It needs to have something that is unique and special. So that is really important. And if that sort of matches, then I'm always happy to do brand deals. Yeah.
What's your advice for brands to work together with creators?
My advice is, I think it's really important to pay creators for the value that they add. I think from my experience, I've seen a lot of brands who take advantage of creators because they don't have the know-how or knowledge sort of on how much traction they can provide for a brand in terms of visibility. And here I sort of reference it in terms of sort of like traditional marketing versus influencer marketing. So I think that's really important. And the other aspect I think that is important is contracts. I think contracts really need to show the interest on both sides, not just the company. And I think if brands do that, then I think from a collaborative standpoint, I think brands will yield a much better content piece. Yeah.
Last question. What do you like most on TikTok?
What I love about TikTok is the community is incredibly open. They're very engaging. You don't really see that on other platforms. And they bring a lot of sort of positive spirit. And I think that makes the whole app really fun to sort of post on. Yeah.
Cedrik, many thanks, and looking forward visiting your restaurant here, maybe in Cedrik.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Nice.